Welcome back to Bordering Politics. In this video, we're diving into the US Electoral College. It's a bit of a quirky system, and we'll be looking at how it picks the American president and the effects that it ultimately has across the border and into Canada. If you're American, Canadian, or just curious about the system, this video is for you. I'm going to break down how it works, why it sparks so much drama, and how it impacts everything from US trade policies to Canada's economy. So let's figure out, what is the Electoral College and why does it matter? So how does the Electoral College actually work? You can think of it like this. The US has 538 electors. Each state gets a number equal to its total congressional representation. So that's House seats plus 2 senators. For example, California with 53 House seats and 2 senators, they get a total of 55 electors. Then Wyoming with 1 House seat and 2 senators, they get a total of 3. And to win the presidency, a candidate needs at least 270 electoral votes, and that gives them a simple majority. Now, thinking about the process, when Americans vote for a president, they're actually choosing electors pledged to a candidate. Those electors then meet to cast their votes for president. It sounds pretty straightforward, but this is where it gets a little more interesting. Some electors, they're called faithless electors, they can go rogue and vote for someone else entirely. It's pretty rare. It's not going to flip, the election. And 30 states now actually have laws binding electors to the state's popular vote, with penalties or replacements for defectors. So let's think about how states award their electors. It's where the Electoral College gets even more interesting. So most states, 48 of them, uses a winner-take-all system. That means the candidate who gets the most votes in the state, even by a single vote, scoops up all its electoral votes. If you win Florida by a hair, you bag all 30 electors. It's high stakes, and it's why every vote actually counts, especially when it comes to a close race. Maine and Nebraska are outliers here. They use a district-based system. They give 2 electors to the statewide popular vote winner and 1 elector to the winner of each congressional district. So a candidate could snag some electors if they lose the state overall. It's a rare setup, but it aims to make things a bit fairer or messier depending on your perspective. The winner-takes-all dominance is why swing states like Pennsylvania, Ohio, Florida, they're the real battlegrounds. Candidates pour millions into these toss-up states because flipping them can deliver a massive electoral prize. That focus shapes everything from campaign promises to policy priorities, and not only America feels the effect, but we'll get into the Canada side later on in this video. I want to provide some historical controversies, though, that show the drama of the Electoral College. So we can look at the 2000 election. We've got George W. Bush versus Al Gore. Bush won the Electoral College 271 to 266, but Gore won the popular vote by over 500,000. Florida's 25 electors were the decider here. It left a lot of Americans feeling that their votes didn't matter. Then fast forward to 2016, you've got Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton. Trump took the Electoral College 304 to 227, but Clinton crushed the popular vote by nearly 3 million votes. So swing states like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin tipped the scales, and the outrage was extreme. These splits, where the popular vote loser becomes the president, they fuel debates about fairness. And critics will say the system ignores millions of voters, especially in safe cities, while defenders of the system will argue that it forces candidates to care about diverse regions. Either way, the controversies keep the Electoral College in the hot seat. So why should a Canadian care about any of this? The fact is, Canada's economy is heavily affected by US policy. Because of the swing states like Ohio, Pennsylvania, campaigns are showered with promises that affect oil and gas. It turns into ripples that are sent across the border. Trade is an example of this. The US is Canada's largest trading partner. Over $1 trillion worth of goods flow through deals like the USMCA. Swing state priorities like protecting manufacturing often lead to US policies that spark disputes. So for example, the softwood lumber feud, where US tariffs pushed by swing state timber interests cost Canadian producers billions. It shows how Electoral College politics can squeeze Canada's economy. Energy exports like Alberta's oil to the US also faces hurdles when swing states demand greener policies or favor domestic industry. The bottom line is that the Electoral College doesn't just pick presidents, it shapes US priorities that Canada ends up feeling down the road. So the Electoral College is the topic of a heated debate. It's like keep it or ditch it for a national popular vote. Supporters will say it protects smaller states like Wyoming or Vermont, giving them a voice so candidates don't just chase big cities like New York or LA. It also preserves the US's federal structure. It's balancing regional power, fair enough, but critics will argue that it's just outdated and unfair. A popular vote would ensure that every vote actually counts equally, regardless of where you live, unlike now where swing states steal the spotlight and safe states are relatively ignored. One reform concept is the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. States in it agree to give their electors to the National Popular Vote winner, bypassing the Electoral College without changing the Constitution. So far, 17 states, 209 electoral votes, have signed on to this, but way more is needed to have a real effect. It sounds promising, but there are definitely hurdles like constitutional challenges or pushback from small states who like their oversized representation. The question is the system broken or is it working as intended? So there you have it, the US Electoral College in a nutshell. It's a 538 elector system that picks the president. It amplifies swing states. It sparks a good deal of drama. It shapes US policies and has an indirect but notable effect on Canada's economy. Whether it's a quirky relic of the past or a cornerstone of the United States democracy, it's definitely a topic of debate. So what is your verdict? Is the Electoral College fine as it is, or does it need some kind of reform, perhaps more focus on the popular vote? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I also want to encourage you to subscribe if you haven't yet. It helps grow the channel immensely. I'll catch you in the next video, and thanks for watching.